Hello, welcome. Thanks for coming back. I'm super excited. This is gonna be so awesome. You are now being welcomed into the world of Haus of Bentley. This is gonna be so much fun, you guys. Today we're gonna be doing a get ready with me video. Work, you know, whether in the creative arts. Maybe if it takes off one day and I have lots of millions, I'll dabble out into different forms of art, such as art, literature, or whatever. The point is that this channel is not just about makeup. Makeup just is one of the things that I do love. I just so happen to be good at it. And honestly, I really enjoy taking people's techniques and running with it, kind of making my own thing. This video is gonna be kind of talking about like level-headed spaces while being in the quarantine. Couture is important. I'm really excited about this video because couture is something that's very dear to my heart. I don't own anything couture yet because I'm still getting there, but I live my life as though I should own couture. I think that, like, you know, you look good, you do good. Manifest things into existence. I very much believe that. So.
I definitely manifest myself a Chanel bag. As you can see, there's a Chanel book sitting up there, an empty bottle of Chanel No. 5, and propagating philodendron.
So I love to plant. I don't have children, but I do have plants, and they are my new babies. Outside of my heels, those are my other babies, and my degree, which is my biggest baby. My face turned out to match my chest today, which honestly 3 months ago was never happening, and I haven't gotten any new products. So if you guys want to see how this look was created today, please keep watching. I went for something kind of purple. I wasn't originally sure what I was going to do, but it ended up being a purple situation, like a little bit of smoke. The gloss is gone. I did originally have on a gloss, so I'll just throw that back on for you guys really quick. I did put on like a lip balm under it. It's just a Burt's Bees tinted lip balm situation, and then like a nice rose gold gloss, like super simple, very chic, minimalistic. But I think it complemented the, you know, the boldness of the eye really well. So if you guys want to see how we got this look today, you know, please keep watching. All right, so I zoomed you guys in close so you can see everything, all the flaws, a bit of moisturizer and facial spray. Both of those are like essentials for me. Facial spray that I always use is the Mario Badescu. This stuff is fantastic. So I wanted to do this get ready with me look today because, well, it's really a weird time to be alive, and B, I of course need to get myself moving and like not be so bummed, you know. I think this is a very depressing time to be like an American citizen, or oh, I don't know, any citizen. We haven't even really been hit yet with apparently the virus as bad as, you know, some other states such as UK, and Corona is really taking over the entire world. So it's a very scary time to be alive. And I must say, you know, I have a lot of friends who are, you know, in relationships or have children and stuff, and it's like, by yourself makes you feel like, oh, well, wow, there's not as much to do, because then you're like, wow, you know, you're stuck in the house, so then you don't have as much to do. All the stores are closed. You know, I love to go to the stores and just look at things like makeup, for example. I'm sure countless people who have a makeup community or a YouTube channel or just love makeup can agree with this. It's hard being away from Ulta and Sephora for so long. It's really not easy. After this, I like to go in with a powder. I'm pretty serious about this. One of the people that do this trick, I got this from a woman named Jackie. You'll probably hear me talk about her a lot, actually, because I really do watch Jackie's channel a lot, and she's just fantastic. She's so inspiring. She makes me so proud to be Black, you know? She really does, and she's just a really great person, a stunning artist in the makeup world, and you know, I think she's just really paved the way for someone like me. So I use a series of 2 powders, sometimes 3. It just really depends on the level of glam I'm really going. The trick that she taught. So, with that being said, this powder basically just like locks everything in. It helps if you have oily skin. I should probably point that out. I do have oily skin. And by the way, you can even do this if you have like a powder that matches your skin tone, which is what I use, and just kind of be done like with this, you know. The whole face looks a lot more matte. So I like to do this for men if I'm ever doing like fashion ready makeup for men, because there are levels, of course, to makeup. Not everything has to be about like a contour. So sometimes whenever I've done makeup for fashion shows, I do a trick like this for men and make sure that I get the Beauty Blender right on their eyelids, like so. Man, I tell you, this trick really gets in there and go down that nose. You literally coat the whole face in it. So having your foundation sit better on your face, stay in place all day. Not to mention it's gonna look a little bit more matte, especially if you have like a dampened beauty blender. I don't do it without a dampened beauty blender all the time. I used to just wear my makeup very glam, like I would just be snatched all the time. I never really wore lipstick, but I would enjoy doing my very casual brow and everything else of that nature. But now I'm not so much into it all the time. You know, I think this summer is gonna be really cool because I'll have like some very masculine days and some very femme days. It's just gonna be a pretty fun year for fashion. Foundation, we used 2 today. These 2 lovely puppies are just wonderful. They're both drugstore. I am a high-end, if I can, drugstore, mostly, kind of both actually, really both. This is a L'Oreal True Match, oil-free milk chocolate N10 shade I'm using this. CoverGirl Matte Made is the other one, and this one is shade D90. So the CoverGirl Matte Made is darker than the True Match. The True Match is a little bit lighter. It's more light to a milk chocolate, more or less color. I like to apply this on a brush after getting it on a palette. I'm just gonna give this a good blend with that same dampened beauty blender. I didn't really take any of the product or try to take any of the product off from when I applied that oil. So just give it a go, people. At this point, I always like to blend my eyes too. Like I always like to get a little bit on there and then I'll go around my mouth too. I don't really block out my mouth as much as I think other people will. Another person that I love watching is Nikki Tutorials. I really like her channel. It's really inspiring to go to. So we're just gonna get up in that hairline. I like to get kind of close for you guys sometimes and then I'll back away. But one thing that I noticed when watching YouTube channels is that sometimes I kind of wish they were clockable, as Jackie would say. And I want everything to kind of be clockable but not clockable. In the sense of I don't want you to literally stare at my pores or see heat coming off of my breath. Who knows, I might be a dragon. But in the sense of that, next we're gonna get a nice big blending brush. I like to use a Real Technique brush, really fluffy. And I like to just kind of buff in. Give this a buff and go around there. Give this a good blend into the neck also. Kind of taking that foundation up and bringing it back down, circular motions. Right under the chin. We're gonna move on to brows next. I like to do the brows because they frame my face. This is where things get really snatched. I always start off with a brow spoolie, you know. I always get loose ones. Whenever I'm at MAC or Sephora, to be perfectly honest, I always ask. But I'll ask if I can have like 2. Just to take with me, especially if the one I have is like old or gunky. But you know, you can wash these things if you would like to, but sometimes they'll get lost or gunky. And one time I lost one and it was found on the floor and I just couldn't bear to take off dog fur. So it was a loss that day. I use a NYX brush actually. I have a really big thing of brushes sitting here in front of me, so I'm just gonna dabble in here. I do want to get to talking about kind of the other topic of what this Get Ready With Me is going to be about, and that's, now that we have that in our NYX brush, things that I think is very important. I've noticed that there's a large bracket of people who don't find the point in buying like couture. And honestly, the difference between couture and something that's worn on a runway, even if it is Valentino and you bought it out of a store, that's ready to wear. When you have something that's couture, it's made for you and only you, and it's made specifically to fit you. Not only that, but it's made with the best of the best materials.
It is hand done, hand beaded, hand crocheted, hand crafted, hand fabricated. Everything is done by hand.
I think that there's a large world of people who like to buy online now, and Amazon has become a huge market, and I love Amazon just as much as the next guy. I really, really do. But I don't think that there's something to be said about looking for a cheaper version of a Christian Louboutin shoe, or a dupe is one thing, but because I love dupes, for example, I've always wanted a Birkin, always wanted one, and that is going to be an entirely separate video on its own, that will talk about the processes of Birkins and how they're made and why they're such exquisite bags to carry and why they are worth the money that people so say that they aren't. I think that I'm very much an advocate for couture and high fashion, because I understand how it's paved the way for any of the fashion that we have now. Jeans, you would never have jeans had it not been for people who experimented on the body and created different kinds of pockets and worked with different weaves and created the twill weave, the satin weave, the plain weave. There are just so many different things that people who say that they would prefer to spend $20 and then another $30 and buy perhaps a $30 shoe into $20 red paint and fabricate a Christian Louboutin.
Arch that a Louboutin has is absolutely clockable. I can see a Christian Louboutin and spot a fake one from a mile away because the arch is absolutely nothing else like any other shoe that I think is on the market right now.
And you can take a clear look at shoes that also have the same heel height. Even if you look at a 130 millimeter Christian Louboutin, one of my favorites is the Hot Chick next to the Mercier. That 130 millimeter Hot Chick Christian Louboutin shoe has an arch that is so sculpted. It's very much sculpted to where the heel is faced at the back of the actual shoe also. So it really gives the shoe a very structural look. The heel is as thin as a pencil, and not too many companies can master that while also mastering the strength and the durability that the shoe may have to have. Even though a Christian Louboutin is a delicate shoe, it still has a specific durability that I think any high-end shoe is going to have, such as Oscar de la Renta, Jimmy Choo, Gianvito Rossi. I always mess up his name. It's quite complicated for me for some reason. Moving on to with the brows, we're going to jump into a little bit of black eyeshadow. This is a Lancome palette, I believe. My goodness, it's quite old, and it's called the Color Design. It's really, really cool. My fabulous model friend Lauren, which you guys will be meeting her when the world probably opens back up, because then we'll be able to do my model situation. I wake up every day wondering what it is I'm gonna learn, and if it's gonna be something I learn throughout the series of a process of events. Is it gonna be something that I learn just from watching a specific Facebook video? Who knew? Or is my mother going to call me with some tea? My mother sometimes will call me with the serious tea, and it's pretty great. My dad will too. They're both tea spillers, to be perfectly frank. Moving on with the brows, got some black eyeshadow in there. That's pretty much the whole point of me using this little palette here. It's got a black eyeshadow, and I like to deepen things and kind of add some hair-like strokes on the brows when I'm doing that. Moving on, you guys, conceal. I am someone who likes to conceal their brows. I haven't gotten to the point of my life where I can do like a brow pencil and really create a nice sculpted situation and just stop at that. I am someone who definitely needs like a brow concealer that they like to use and really like to fix that. So I always like to go in with this NARS Radiant and Creamy, and I just kind of go under the brows first with this. I actually use a NYX palette, but honestly, you guys, for some reason, I have no idea where it is. I literally have no idea. Like, vanished off the face of the earth. I can't find it. I cleaned my room. I've done everything that a person's supposed to do. I'm then gonna take this
Nick excuse me, New York is what I believe the name of this is.
Moving on, we're gonna take this fantastic Nika K New York concealer. I really like this concealer a lot. It's a really nice consistency, very full coverage, and that just makes me extensively happy. I'm gonna grab a Morphe M, I think it's an M432. Yeah, and it's got a really nice shade. It's very peachy. It's creamy. And I mean, the NARS Radiant and Creamy is exactly what the name says. Really, really is. So mixing the two of them is just perfection. Because it's more late in the day, do something more va-va-voom, because typically you're gonna go out in the nighttime, so you want to make your makeup very crazy sauce for the clip. Be perfectly frank, you guys, it's like Tuesday, so yeah, not happening today. I don't even feel like that. This is totally watch Sex and the City with wine day. Because I'm filming, my grocery store is gonna close before I'm finished. So with that being said, it's okay, I won't have any wine, but I do have this fabulous face to look at, and that makes me very happy. This will make me feel better, you know? All of the different things going on in my head right now, it's insane. So you guys, back to what we were talking about, what I was talking about. Couture takes a very long time to create. Imagine taking the flowers off of something and deconstructing all of those petals and realizing there's just a few stitches that have been run through a machine. It's not exactly couture, and in fact, it's the complete opposite. Their only machines that are used are the ones to create the actual stitches, but most of the fabrics that are created in a couture house are created by hand, by more than one fabric. A lot of times couture implements the most avant-garde and outlandish of silhouettes and color palettes, variations of garments, and ideas. Those things trickle down into regular fashion all the time. In fact, one of the ways that it trickles the most is the outlandishness of, I think, certain Black cultural fashions that are now high fashion. For example, one of the people who displays this the most, I think, would be someone that I think a lot of people know from watching the show Love and Hip Hop, and that's Spice. Spice wears a lot of garments during the show whenever she has to be somewhere that's quite lavish, that often depict an outlandish and stunning couture element of clothing, something that you wouldn't expect people to wear in public so simply. And I think that that is something that couture is definitely depicted in regular fashion. Fashion has definitely changed and become more practical because of the world we live in, which is not exactly what I'm saying should change. But I do think that the naive input that I think a lot of people who are from the newer generation and even some from the older generation have about couture not being important or worth the amount of money that it is in fact worth, I think is simply ludicrous. It's so fabulous that there are people who create these lovely couture pieces. And without these ateliers, I just don't know what we would do when it comes to being creative and innovative ourselves with fashion. In fact, I think fashion would become something that is frowned upon in the future if we did not have the ateliers, because not everyone knows how to do it. And I think that miscommunication of what is in fashion and what isn't would be so vast in the world that it would become something that I think a lot of people simply frown upon. And being fashionable would be deemed extra and excess and unnecessary. And it would be a very uncanny time to want to be anything fashionable, and for anyone who does have a fashion sense to live in that era of the world. So I'm very glad that there are still those ateliers, and by you me, I plan on helping them create their magic by being quite the investor hopefully one day. But I will say that I do love sewing myself, and creating fashion myself is one of my favorite things to do. It's the most rewarding thing that I think I've ever done. I'm growing a plant right now that might kick some butt, you know. I really love the rewardingness of fashion, really I do. Making a dress for someone on, you know, their big day, whatever that may be, is like so awesome, like makes my day, you know. They get so excited and they see themselves differently, you know. They see themselves for who I think a lot of other people see them as, and not for who they were looking in the mirror and depicting themselves as. And I think that's freaking lit. So one of the things that I'm gonna do now is go in a little bit more of this concealer, just a little tiny bit here and here as well. And we're gonna bring the brow up just a bit.
This one's almost out, so gotta do a lot of dips sometimes, but I'm just gonna grab that Morphe brush again. I'm just gonna bring it up a little bit here so that it's thinner.
We are about to spill some tea now. Now y'all know couture is expensive, and you know a lot of people are like, oh, it's overrated, but is it really? Could you do anything that the ateliers do? I mean, I would love for someone to tell me how it is they're going to create that many flowers to put on something, or brocade these tiny, tiny, tiny little slits onto a fabric that is almost made from something as thin as the screen on your window. So you explain to me how to do it. I would just love for you to craft this. Are you gonna use a machine? Oh, please tell me you're gonna use a machine to do this. See, that's how ateliers do it. A lot of times people think they're like, oh, I have all these machines, I can craft all these things, and that's great. That's great, I love it. But crafting something by hand, darling.
Ooh, now that is true dedication. That is true stay, okay? That's what I'm talking about. And I would love to be able to wear something that I think is so one of a kind. You know?
It's like a scent. You ever sprayed scents and want them to be so unique, so you like layer scents? Everyone's like layering scents as if they thought about doing this first, you know, like they're just like so excited about it. When layering scents has been a thing since perfume actually came out. That's how perfume is made. So obviously that's not like new, but people love doing it to create the incentive of having something that no one else can have.